So just to start off, thank you guys so much for joining and welcome to our webinar this evening. So yeah, we'll just be going over a few things, but firstly, we'd just like to start off by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands in which we live and work on throughout Australia. We pay our respects to their elders past and present. Okay, so a quick little overview of what to expect today. So I'll give you a little introduction firstly to scope, and then I will hand over to our General Manager of Therapy Services, Annette, who is also on the call today. And we'll hand over to Andrea Curran Bennett, who is our Graduate Program Coordinator and also one of our OT team leaders here at Scope. And then we are joined as well by Hannah, who is one of our current graduates and occupational therapists. And Lucy, unfortunately, was unable to make it today. However, we'll also go over the content that she's provided for us as well, just so you can all get a little bit more of an insight into life as a Scope graduate. So let's get going. We've got a little video here for you guys firstly, just to have a quick little introduction about Scope. So I'll just play that for you.
What does it really mean to belong? At Scope, we believe it's about giving people the confidence and the opportunity to be more, to be together, to be independent, to be adventurous, to be bold, to be out there, to be part of something bigger. As Australia's leading disability service provider, we're here to work with you, so you can be who you want to be. Yeah. Scope Disability Services.
Perfect. Okay, so firstly, just to quickly go over a little bit about us and get to know us a little bit better, our values. So we celebrate people. We celebrate Scope's diversity when we see every person and the contribution they make. We excel together. We excel together in all that matters to our clients and our colleagues, and we act bravely. We act and speak up for what is right. And a little overview of our therapy vision as well. So to support and grow a dynamic contemporary team, working together with our clients and partners to transform the community and the lives of people with disability. Before we get into all of the content that we've got ready for you guys today, I would encourage you to just quickly scan this QR code. If you have any questions throughout the webinar this evening, you can pop the questions on the Slido, and then at the end of each section, we will review the questions we've got and ask anything to the guest speakers that we've got today. If you also feel like jumping in, turning on your mic, feel free to do so as well. So I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to just get that QR code loaded. Then we will jump right into it. So firstly, our first guest speaker, we have got Annette Davis. Annette.
Thank you and welcome everyone. Good evening. Thank you for spending the time with us this evening. I'm very excited to present our service to you and answer any questions you might have. So I've been the General Manager of Therapy Services at Scope for nearly 18 months now. I'm a therapist myself. I'm a podiatrist. That's my background. So I've done frontline work, disability, aged care and health. And I'm thrilled to lead this team. So next slide, please. We have services across Victoria and New South Wales. So in metropolitan Melbourne, we have sites across Melbourne. We also have sites in Central Highlands, Barwon, Gippsland, our metro services, Ovens, Murray, Goulburn, Loddon, Mallee. And we also have services in New South Wales, so at Kings Grove as well. So we are a truly national service and look after over 2,000 clients, and we have over 100 therapists. So we have the therapy team that I look after. We also have therapists in our communications program and up in Sydney at our Kings Grove site as well. So It's a combination of occupational therapists, speech pathologists. I think there's more of them than anything else, which we love. We have some physiotherapists, and we also have a very important allied health assistant team. So we all work together to achieve those goals of belonging and thriving for our clients. If we move on to the next slide, what do we do here at Scope? Glad you asked. Well, we see children and adults. We are primarily a children's service. About 80% of our service is children. Although in our New South Wales team, they do a lot of adult service. And if you work in our paediatric or our children's sites, we do early childhood interventions, so quite young children. We know that the earlier you get onto issues with children, the better the outcomes for them and their families. So that's an important part of our service. We do a lot of work in childcare, kindergarten and schools. It's a great way to engage children in their environment, in their learning environment, but also to provide capability building for the teaching staff and any of the support workers they have there. So a day working out at school could be working with a child, but it would also be working very closely with the teacher and anyone else and the parent to make sure that the child has the best opportunity in the learning environment. We do a lot of mobility work, play-based learning. We run groups. There was a lovely slide I saw of a group, a play group where they were immersed in shaving cream. So quite a tactile group for children. We do run cooking groups. We do secret agent groups, all sorts of things. So it's a lovely way to expand therapy, and it's a different offering so that people can learn and thrive in all environments. We do a lot of work in assistive technology, in the electronic assistive technologies, as well as we work with our CERC team with the non-assistive technologies, but it's a great one. Every person should have a voice, and it's a human right. So we're very keen to make sure that everyone who needs access to assistive technologies has that. Parent education, critical, because they're all part of the team and can continue on your therapeutic services when you're not there. So the parent's an integral part of the service here, and certainly access to education and home visits as well. In the adult space, we do a lot of work around safe meal times. Unfortunately, aspiration and choking is a leading cause of injury and death to people with disability. So that's a key area where we do a lot of work around providing mealtime management training. We have speech pathologists who deliver the training to support workers. They teach them how to do to mince food, to thicken water, all of those things. So it's a great adjunct to the therapy that you're delivering to actually be teaching our staff what they need to do to stay safe. We also work with Speech Pathology Australia and the NDIS to look at how we can make mealtime safer across the disability sector. So we do a lot of advocacy in that space as well. We also do the communication assistive technologies as well for adults, accommodation options. We're very much about the person's choice and control around that dignified self-care, where we can assist with that, some of the ADLs, activities of daily living, and other things that they may need, their participation in daily activities. The work that we do in these spaces can be life-changing for people. And even recently, we had a workshop day, and there was a lovely story about a person who had refugee status that came over to Australia, no wheelchair. They had profound physical disability. We were able to assist them so that they could get a wheelchair, but also they'd never leave the house. So they were able to actually go outside and participate in daily life. All right, I think I'm getting the move on here. Access to transport, but also mobility and positioning as well, which is really critical for safe eating. Okay. Next slide, please. What are the allied health work streams we do here? Well, we have clinical practice, obviously. That would be the direct patient care, diagnosis, treatment and management that you would do. We also do a lot in education, so around health literacy promotion, training of professionals. Students, we certainly take students. We love doing that because they're the future. And our knowledge dissemination, we have a research department and an innovation department here at Scope. Our research is our advancing knowledge through a systematic investigation. We're about to start a trial looking at outcome measures for clients, testing a couple of different outcome measure tools. So we do a lot in that space as well. Management, it's an area you could move up into, certainly with a career pathway here at Scope, so overseeing services, delivery and projects. And then there's the strategy, so driving reforms. Because we are a large service and we belong to Ability First Australia, we are a voice for the sector about improving all services to disability. So clinical practice, education, research, management and strategy are all career pathways streams that you can have access if that's the area you want to move into through your career journey. So something else to think about, that we grow you as a practitioner. So we love you in the clinical space, but if you want to look at other areas of growing yourself as a professional, we certainly offer that as well. Okay, next slide. All right, but we also like to have a bit of fun as well. So the beautiful First Nations print on the left we did that last year at our therapy day. Uncle Steve Ulu Parker, who was a wonderful First Nations man, assisted us with the creation of that print. He had the base, and then our 100 therapists that came to therapy day last year put their hands on as a connection between our Victorian and our New South Wales team. So we're really, really proud of that print. We've actually got it on mouse mats around the place, so you might see them. We also had clients attend the Australian Open, and that's Dylan Alcott there, who had a chat with some of our clients who were able to go along to the Hot Shots tennis program this year. We were able to take a few staff along to that to assist with all the logistics that go along with that. That was a fantastic day. The third picture up the top is our therapy day. That's a picture of our team that we had last year. Down in the corner, our Belong and Thrive, that's the Scope, which was led by our therapy team. That's at Midsummer, so the Pride March earlier this year in Melbourne. One of our clinical lead is the one right in the middle there in the sunglasses. But yeah, we like to get involved, and we certainly celebrate the diversity and encourage that here at Scope. The bottom photo in the middle is our Communicamp. We have a communication camp for children 8 to 15 who use assistive technology to connect with each other, and the crazy people on the end are our staff who volunteer and also go along to those camps to assist with children to develop their communication aid skills. And we have fantastic feedback. Everyone has such a wonderful time. And then on the bottom right hand is we celebrate at our different days in different ways here. So World Autism Day, we had a lot of colour, cupcakes. The picture above is OT, Occupational Therapy Day, where we had a virtual morning tea across all of the services. So we do like to get involved in those things and we work hard, but we play hard as well, which is very nice. And I think there's one more slide. So I'm going to introduce you to Phoenix, Alana, and our beautiful therapist, Karen, our speechy Karen, and the tea party. So this is just a short video of a lovely client that we have and our therapy delivery to our people. So I will play that now.
So we didn't know at the time of our pregnancy that we were having a beautiful Down syndrome child. So it was a beautiful surprise and a little bit of a shock because we didn't know was going to be what kind of challenges we were going to face. Karen's got this beautiful, gentle aura about her that just sort of brings people in. And I do see her beyond just a therapist. I see her as an actual friend. So today we've planned something quite special for Karen. So we've set up a morning tea here. Phoenix and I have been working at, putting together some cakes and some fruit just to say a big thank you. She was not just there as a key worker and just a speech pathologist for Phoenix, but she was there as an emotional support.
That is gorgeous. Thank you.
She was a great inspiration to also me as a mum. That also helped me to go, right, you know, it's okay to have good days and bad days. It's okay to cry and be emotional. We wouldn't have the extended networking and support that we had. Originally, it started from Scope. So they are the roots and the foundation of the tree. I think everyone that we've worked with at Scope, especially Karen, they've been absolutely amazing. They're sort of like angels in disguise. They've come here to assist families and to help them grow and to give them that beautiful guidance that sometimes we all need.
Beautiful. So I will just hand over to Lydia for 1 minute to see if any questions have come through on the Slido, or if anyone was feeling brave enough to turn their mic on, please feel free to go ahead, and Annette will answer any questions you've got. So, yeah.
Thanks, Laura. Apologies, I'm losing my voice now. And then we've got a question from Slido. So what projects are your team currently working on at the moment?
Oh, well, there's a few. We're working on our competency framework at the moment. So looking at all of the competencies across our services and where we have gaps, and we look at the future and see what we need, areas that we need for growth in. I think I mentioned before, we're just about to kick off an outcome measures study, looking at 2 different measurement tools. I mentioned about Therapy Day in the previous slide, and we'll be sending out an ask for the therapists across the organisation. We have what's called a rapid fire presentation at the Therapy Day. Our Therapy Day is I think it's in October this year. And what that is it's a 7-minute presentation, 3 slides, where the therapists present either a case study that they've done or some projects that they're doing locally. Last year we had people talk about the cooking class, the pod book. There were some case studies, some advocacy work that our behaviour support people were doing with the OPA. So yeah, there's a raft of things. Developing QR codes to assist with different areas of service as well. So all sorts of things going on. And we're just about to kick off our training and education committee as well. So developing education packages to deliver to teachers and schools and parents as well to assist them. So basic things like toileting, all sorts of different things.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Annette. Any other questions that anyone felt like they would like to know more about? No? Okay. Well, we will jump over to our next guest speaker. So, Andrea, if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself. You're on mute, Andrea.
Someone's got to do it. Welcome, everybody. My name is Andrea. I am an occupational therapist at Scope. I have been here for 5.5 years. I'm also the team leader for our Melton service and coordinate the graduate program. So my job this evening is to give you a bit more information about the graduate program and let you know what's in it for you. If we can have the next slide, thank you. So the program really has been designed to support you to develop those clinical skills that you would need in your role at Scope, working in the disability sector. But it goes just beyond your clinical development. At Scope, like lots of organisations, we have lots of systems and processes that you would need to learn. And so we actually create some space within that graduate program to support you to learn those systems and processes and to be able to navigate your way through them smoothly. I guess we as an organisation are really interested in our therapist contributing to the organisation, and Annette's already spoken a little bit about what some of those opportunities are. And it's also about influencing what's happening in the disability sector as well. And so there are lots of opportunities for our therapists and our graduates to participate in those activities and projects. And so we will be actively encouraging you and seeking opportunities for you to participate in those activities beyond your clinical work. I think an important part of the program is supporting our graduates to develop their own professional identity. So how is it that you like to work? What are the resources and tools that you like? Are there particular areas of practice that you would like to move towards and specialise in? So the program is about supporting your awareness of those things, giving you an opportunity to see others in their work, and to learn from them, and then to take all of that and kind of start to build your own professional identity and how you want to work. I think one of the huge advantages of choosing to come to Scope is actually connecting with a statewide and now interstate team. So we have therapists in Victoria and in New South Wales. We have very deliberately structured the graduate program to facilitate connections with those other team members across the state. Each week we have a guest speaker coming from different teams so that you get to put a face to a name, you get to hear about the work that others are doing, and then down the track, hopefully connecting with those people as you need further support. I guess to give you a bit more insight into what a typical day might look like as a graduate, one of our therapists who participated in the graduate program last year, Isabella, has put together a short video for you, just a day in the life of her work. Isabella is a speech pathologist in our Cheltenham office, and whilst she's a speechy, I think the content is relevant if you were an OT or a physio as well. Thanks, Laura.
Good morning. Welcome to a day in the life as a new graduate speech pathologist at Scope. I start my mornings by making breakfast, packing my bag, then heading straight into the office. Once I get here, I check and reply to any emails that I have, and then quickly make myself a to-do list for everything that needs to get done today. Here we've got Jade, one of the other new graduate speech pathologists in our team. Together we're off to Bromley's for a quick morning treat before we get stuck into our day. I have a couple of school visits today, so off to the resource cupboard to grab some games. I've been working on S-Blends with one of my school kids, and always have lots of fun finding new ways to practice this with him. After my back-to-back school visit, I write my notes before heading back to the office. Now it's time to have some lunch and check my emails before getting ready for my clinic session. Here I am setting up the room before my client arrives. Together we have been working on some keyword signs such as more and finish. After the session, I write up my notes, send them out, and then it's time for some resource prepping. Here I am creating a first and then visual which I use with a few of my clients. After this, I've got a phone call organized and then I am done for the day. Thank you so much for coming along.
The other thing I wanted to do is to give you a bit more of a sense of what this program looks like over the year. So we begin with kind of an introduction to Scope. So we have some kickstart days where we come together at head office in Hawthorn. We introduce you to Scope, our purpose, our values, what is it that we do here. We do our systems training in those few days, and then it's about you heading out into the team that you'll be working in and connecting with your team. There's an opportunity for you to be observing sessions with your fellow team members, to see how they go about doing things, and really just gradually introducing your clinical caseload kind of in those first few weeks. We then move into more of an intensive training and support phase. It's where we are focused on providing very specific training and support for you. I guess the statewide team has contributed to designing a curriculum that we think supports graduates to acquire the skills that they need in their role at Scope. So we do have specific training modules that we work through. We have experiential workshops, we have case discussions. There is an emphasis on peer support, so actually the graduates supporting each other. And this year they have all connected on various communication apps that I'm not part of, so they're actually supporting each other on a regular basis. We do a lot of reflection activities, so utilising self-reflection to support our learning throughout the year. There's research topics. There's a whole range of learning activities that take place. The way that is structured is that we have set aside a whole day for learning. So that's actually pre-programmed into your calendar and it's protected time. So that means that you have a day a week to focus on specific learning. Some of that is online, some of that is face-to-face, and that's scheduled throughout the kind of first 6 months of the program. Once that kind of intensive training phase kind of concludes, we're kind of moving to what we're calling kind of that building autonomy. So that day that you had set aside for learning then becomes available to continue in your clinical work. There's an emphasis, I guess, on you putting all of that learning into practice, building your independence, being more confident in your role, managing your time, managing your workload, and kind of practicing all of that in a supported way. Whilst the graduate program is happening, there is kind of ongoing support for you from your immediate team. So you would have a team leader who's providing a formal supervision. There would be mentoring from your peers in your team. We have what we call communities of practice, which is where we have statewide meetings online where the teams come together and share information, ideas, professional development. So they again are scheduled on a regular basis. So there's that support that's happening within your team alongside what is happening in the graduate program, and we're kind of working collaboratively to support you throughout the year. As we get to the end of the year, I guess that's a time for us to reflect on all that you have achieved in your first year. It's then looking ahead to your next year and developing some individualised learning goals for your following year, and really kind of exploring what those opportunities are for you to be participating within the organisation beyond your clinical role. I guess one of the things that I did want to highlight is that whilst we're here tonight talking about the grad year, there is support for you beyond your graduate year at Scope. So you will continue to receive supervision from your team leader. You will continue to receive peer support from all the connections that you have made. Our communities of practice continues. You have a PD budget that's allocated to you and professional development days. Annette mentioned we have a statewide, or not statewide, interstate meeting that happens once a year where the whole team gets together. And we have what we call practice support, which is where you might be linked with another clinician across the state who has a particular skill area that will support you in learning a particular skill. But all of those things continue for you beyond your first year at Scope.
Perfect. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Andrea, on top of that? Or
We have a few questions
okay.
for you, Andrea. So the first question here is, could you please tell me how many speeches work in Gippsland, and additionally, how many speeches would be employed by Scope across Australia?
Oh, I don't know if I have all of those numbers off the top of my head.
So there's 4 speeches in Gippsland at the moment. We do take on a fair few students throughout the year as well. Across Scope, Annette, you might need to tap in on how many we would employ
they are
over
the
the
largest. Yeah, they are the
Hmm.
largest workforce. And if I think as a rough number, don't hold me to this, because I think if I include all the therapists across New South Wales and CERC and us, it's probably 40, maybe.
Yeah, that would sound about right. 40 speeches.
Yeah, I think there's about 40 of them. So you're not on your own if that's what you're worried about.
And I think if you're just looking or thinking about how many speeches in the grad program, ideally a speech in every service. So yeah, we do have a lovely cohort of speeches within previous grad programs. So yeah, you'll never be on your own. I'll move on to the next question. Can you tell me more about the graduated caseload or the graduate's caseload, Andrea?
Yes, people always wanted, are always interested in this. I think caseloads will vary a little bit across teams. So depending on which team that you're in, and what referrals are coming in, but your team leader would be working with you to select a caseload that is appropriate to your skill level. So we're not going to give you someone with really complex needs and expect you to work with them independently. In terms of, I'm wondering if this also relates to this question, which is around productivity. So much of the work that we do at Scope is NDAs funded. So that means that we essentially are operating as a community business where we are providing service and then billing for that service to the NDIS. So we do have productivity targets. So how much work do we expect our therapists to achieve in a day, in a week, and over the year? As part of setting up the graduate program, we actually spent some time working out what would be a realistic and achievable productivity target for our graduates. So that starts out by the end of 3 months, we expect that therapists will get to 30% of their work time would be billed, and by the end of the graduate year, that will build up to 60%. So I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Andrea. We've got 2 more questions, so very hot topic, your section. Question here is there a PD budget for new grads, or is there predicted training considered to replace that?
Graduates are allocated a PD budget and PD days, like all of the therapists within Scope. And then on top of that, there is all of the training that's actually provided within that, the graduate program. So there are formal training program modules that you will be completing as part of the graduate program in that day. That's in addition to the PD budget that you would be allocated.
Lovely. And last one, we have it in the chat box. Hi, I'm a graduating speech pathology student. How many new grads do you typically take on every year in VIC? And is there a specific intake period? Secondly, is supervision scheduled on a weekly basis? Thank you. Thanks, Tamara. I can talk about the recruitment just briefly. There is a specific intake period. So we do commence in February of next year. There are opportunities if you are graduating mid-year, then we can certainly see if there's opportunities to join Scope earlier as an AHA, or if there's any other opportunities available while you wait to commence the graduate program. How many students do we take? That's a good question. We would love to take everybody, everyone who shows interest in Scope. I think a cohort of 10 would be ideal, and how that's divvied up, it really depends on where we're recruiting in as well, and what support that looks like. I think the second part is supervision scheduled on a weekly basis. So Andrea, that would be for you.
So I'm a team leader. So for graduates, I would be having weekly supervision with them as we kind of get underway. I think then I would typically be negotiating with them around what that looks like as we move forward. So typically that then might move out to fortnightly supervision, formal supervision sessions. And then that might then move out to monthly supervision sessions, which is kind of the standard for therapists within Scope. So all Scope therapists would be receiving formal supervision from their team leader. So that's kind of negotiated around need. That's in addition to, I guess, the mentoring and peer support that you would be receiving in your team, and in addition to the kind of one day that we've kind of set aside for your participation in the graduate program. So there is lots of support available to get you up and running in your profession.
Awesome. So just conscious of time, we will hop over to our next guest speaker. So we've got Hannah here today. Hannah, feel free to jump in.
Hi, I'm Hannah Jandasu, and I'm an occupational therapist in the OMG Shepparton office. It's really good to see you all here today. So my journey actually began a very long time ago with Scope. My brother was born with Down syndrome, and he was engaged with Scope services from 0 to now 17 years old, working with physios, speechies and OTs throughout the year. I commenced my Bachelor of Psychological Science with La Trobe University in 2016. During that time, I worked for the Eastern Regional Mental Health Association as a disability and mental health support worker. I then returned to Shepparton and worked with our local ACO with young Aboriginal children in kinship care at Rumballara. And then I commenced my Masters in Occupational Therapy after completing a bridging course in Anatomy and Physiology in 2021. I then actually began my career journey with Scope as an allied health assistant while I was studying my Masters in Occupational Therapy. I quickly pressed pause and got married and gave birth to my beautiful baby girl during this time. And then I graduated in 2023 as an occupational therapist and commenced the new graduate program in 2024. So my insights of the new graduate program is that it is phenomenal. You get amazing peer support from fellow colleagues that are in the same shoes as you are, who are starting off their Scope journey. There's a real focus on self-care and well-being, and we do practice that through various activities. There's incredible structured training in the format of modules and other online various platforms that go through strength-based, early childhood intervention, key worker model training, you name it, Scope's got it. It's been an incredible experience getting to access all of that online training. Access to tech assessments and case note examples and reviewing case scenarios to apply our learnings. Incredible lectures and talks from our very own local Scope therapists. And a slow build up of productivity expectations over the new graduate course. So chatting about starting very low and then building up to a full caseload. So my purpose story relates to a 10-year-old client who is autistic. He first started off with quite challenging behaviours, a lot of challenges interacting with his peers. His NDIS goals were around play skills and emotional regulation. At first, he did not want to engage during sessions, tantrums, meltdowns, you name it. It was a very challenging client at the time. And then 2 years on as an occupational therapist, from starting with him as an allied health assistant, we have built amazing rapport, both him and his mother. He now loves and enjoys coming to sessions. His goals have been achieved from a clinical standpoint. Identifies simple emotions, usually using visual aids, and reports that he's engaging in play and turn-taking games with his peers. So that's been my phenomenal journey with him and with Scope in regards to my purpose story.
Beautiful. I will just give us a little minute, actually, just following of what Hannah has shared with us today. So did anyone have any questions regarding Hannah's journey and sort of her role here at Scope? Or any questions that have come through on the Slido?
There's a question that's come through the Slido, but we can give everyone a moment while we answer this question. Hannah, how are you supported within your team in Shepparton?
Well, we are a very close-knit team. We all check in on a regular basis, whether that be formal supervision, meeting with my clinical therapist lead every fortnight, or informal chats with my colleagues in the office. Yeah, my team's very good in regards to problem solving and brainstorming on the spot with me, with whatever challenges arise, and also celebrating our triumphs. Working across a multidisciplinary team as well, it's very supportive in regards to that we share clients. So we have a lot of fun joint sessions, which means joint reflection and also working collaboratively on reports. And yeah, so I'm also very well supported by my team leader. We also have regular clinical supervision, and she supports me on a regular basis, both formally and informally. And yeah, and we also, across the OMG, I get a lot of support from other offices as well, specifically Seymour, which is about 45 minutes up the road, and I go over there and shadow occasionally on their amazing group sessions, and also share and collaborate on different resources as well.
Awesome. Any other questions? Did anyone have anything for Hannah? No? Awesome. Okay. Well, our last guest speaker was Lucy, who unfortunately is unable to join us today. But Lydia will be just quickly talking over what the information that Lucy has provided with us today. So, Lydia, I'll pass it over to you.
Lucy and Lydia are quite close in
It's close,
name,
yeah.
but yeah, that's pretty much it. All will share the similarities. Lucy has joined our graduate program this year as an occupational therapist. So I know there was a lot of speech discussions, but we are joined by 2 OTs today, which is so lovely to see. So Lucy, and I can't. We've done this journey with Hannah and Lucy, just so everyone on the meeting can see that it's always not going to be a straight journey to get to from study and then into a graduate program or into your career. Everyone's got their own journey, and sometimes it can steer you left or right, or might go back and then up again. So I think it's really important that you're doing your own journey, and that will be reflective of where you end up with us, the grad program, as a successful therapist. So Lucy's journey is a little bit different than Hannah's. So she commenced her Bachelor of Applied Science in 2020, and she started as working as a disability support worker while also doing her bachelor degree. Then she found her niche in her allied health and thought, why not? I love doing occupational therapy. I love hearing about it. She's a basketball player as well, so she is quite, aware of her physicality and other people's physicality. So she said, "This is me." So she began her Masters in Occupational Therapy. She also, when she completed her placement in physical disability, that was really a wonderful aha moment for Lucy. She actually was doing one of her placements at our Glen Allen school, which Scope is actually next door or in the same grounds as Glen Allen. So she could see what we were doing and how involved we were within Glen Allen. So Lucy was, yeah, she thought this is definitely something that I would like to engage with. So we welcomed Lucy into the Scope graduate program this year. In regards to how many people we had this year, we had 6 join, and it was wonderful. We had 3 speeches and 3 OTs, and everyone was spread across Victoria. So yeah, it's been that's Lucy's journey. It doesn't stop there. It will still continue to expand and go into all those wonderful opportunities that Scope offers. Let's have a look at the next slide. So Lucy put together these slides before, obviously, she was unable to attend tonight. So her insights really is about that supervision, gradual increase of workload, which is that productivity that Andrea was mentioning about, access to assessments and resources, and practical support. So not only do you get the support from Andrea and your cohort through the grad program, but you certainly are getting practical support by shadowing, working with your team and having that support through your multidisciplinary team. So not only is Lucy just confined into the OT world, she also has access to speech pathologists and physios. On her Monday, she loves, so Mondays is our dedicated therapy days. So what she loves about is their structured learning. She loves sharing stories and learning with her peers, loves to ask questions and solve problems as a group, active reflection time, and there's that self-care again, which we absolutely promote, and professional development. So I think that's really connecting with what Hannah was saying about the grad program and what her insights are about it. So it's great to see that reflective in you, Hannah, and also Lucy's insights. Go to the next. So Lucy's purpose story. I wish I knew a little bit more about this client, but I'll just run through. Lucy has a client who's 7-year-old male on the spectrum disorder, and this client is with the Victorian Catholic Education Authority. That's where the funding is, so a little bit different than NDIS. And referred assistance with engagement in the classroom, maintaining attention, emotional regulation, and fine motor skills. So while Lucy has been in the grad program and also building up her caseload and her experience and her skills and knowledge, what she's done is she's done classroom observations, sensory profile assessments, fine motor observations and recommendations, and consulting with staff. I think it's really wonderful how she can pinpoint things that she's done and involved herself and how others and she's involved and support on this client who is going to be one of those clients that she will remember forever because she's highlighted it here today. So I think Lucy's purpose story is something that we do love to see and hear about. Do we have any questions to Hannah? I'll try and answer some questions if you've got a question about Lucy's journey, or do we have any questions as a final presentation?
Okay, I think we'll jump into then the final section.
Oh, hold on, sorry. I've got one here.
Oh, cool.
Are all your positions full-time in the graduate program? They are.
Well,
so-
actually, Hannah works part-time.
Yep. So we can obviously negotiate. We are very flexible. We have the work-life balance. We do advertise them as full-time. We can have a conversation if you are looking at different hours per day, or if you have other things that are going on with your life, we can certainly be flexible in that. I'm part-time at Scope as well, so I totally get that work-life balance. But yes, we do advertise full-time, but we are more than happy to have those conversations.
Awesome.
And I'll see if there's any more on. Nope, there isn't. I can't see any on this Slido.
Perfect. All right. Well, our last section, Lydia, I will leave this to you to quickly go over.
Lovely. So some key dates, if you are interested in applying to the graduate program, please use that QR code, or alternatively head over to our website on our careers page. We have the applications open at the moment. The recruitment process will begin on the 24th of June. So, and then we keep it open. We understand that sometimes there are mid-year intakes, or mid-year graduation, or it might fall out of that mid-year. So we do keep the applications open until the 22nd of November. Be mindful that the graduate program will start in February. So sometimes you can have an offer ready and then you've got some time and you'll be starting the graduate program, say, in a couple of months from graduating. The feedback we get about that is, I think a lot of students just need to have some downtime before starting into a full-time position. It can be quite intense when you're doing your graduate program. It can be quite intense when you're studying and then head straight into a graduate program. So if the opportunity is there, I'd suggest taking some time for you to reflect and just really understand that when you do start, you've had that time to have a bit of a holiday or do things that you haven't been able to do because you've been studying so great. I've got a question that's just come through about the recruitment process. The recruitment process for us at Scope is, once we receive your application, we will give you a quick call and organise a first round interview with you. So that'll be with myself and Laura. We work in a talent acquisition team. And then if you're successful from the first round interview, we would recommend for you to have a second round interview with the service manager. So if you are interested in the Cheltenham office or in the Melton office with Andrea, then you would have an interview with Andrea. A case study is presented to you on the day. It's something that you don't need to prepare for. It's just a scenario that we give you just to see what your thought process is on the case study. From there, we do reference checks, and then we make sure all your compliance is all up to date, especially with the APRA and the SPA registration, which I know you get after graduation. And then we get our offer sent out. So I hope that's answered your question. Laura and I are always available, phone or email, if you want to have a more confidential conversation with us. Our early careers email is just on the bottom of your page there.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Understanding there was a little bit of a tech issue in the beginning, but we really do appreciate your time and for joining us. So please, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us on the email address we've given, or our contact details as well. You can find us on LinkedIn or on our Scope site as well. So yes, thank you, and please enjoy the rest of your night.